What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video we've got part 2 of the 3 Great League Battle of Spice videos that I'll be uploading this week, featuring 15 more of the craziest teams you'll ever see in the Go Battle League. Now I want to say thank you to everyone that watched yesterday's video and has now given me access to view and download their submissions, as it means I can now go straight ahead and record part 3. If you do appreciate the insane spice that you're about to witness but somehow you didn't catch yesterday's video, definitely go ahead and watch that as soon as you're done watching this one, but also make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that way you're notified when part 3 goes live. And for anyone that's new to the channel, in the coming weeks you'll also be able to watch the Ultra and Master League editions of the Battle of Spice, so there's an insane amount of spicy content coming very soon. With that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is your favourite GBL video you've ever watched on YouTube? Let me know in the comment section down below, let me know which content creator made that video, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so heading into the first battle, we're going to need Shadow Flaffy into Skarmory. So greatly, the opponent's going to safe swap into Gligar, and of course we've got an Ice type in the back, but maybe coming in with the Shadow Wartortle, just to make sure that we don't have to use a shield here. Of course, Dig would be super effective up against the Sandshrew, but we're going to throw an Aqua Jet on the CMP tie with the next charge move, and we're able to grab a shield from the opponent. But at this point, honestly, Aqua Jet I think might be 40 energy or maybe even 45, so I don't think we would make it to another move there. So instead, choosing to no shield, but unfortunately they do get the full farm down. Now we're going to come in with the Sandshrew, and they do just barely make it to a Dig, so going to have to respect this. And in the end, we still ended up using a shield, so probably should have just come in with the Sandshrew there. But either way, the opponent's going to come in with their Skarmory, and we're going to swap, try to make a catch there, and we're going to bait out a Shadow Quagsire. Now, if the opponent doesn't know about the Trailblaze coverage, they're about to find out as we one-shot the Quagsire. We also ramp up our attack. The opponent is going to go and full send the Brave Bird. That does big damage, and because we're running Tackle, unfortunately, not the fastest energy generating fast move there, but it doesn't really matter. We can full send the Blizzard. This is completely unnecessary, and the opponent does actually use their shield, but I think we're just going to commit to another Blizzard here. Going to use a shield on the Sky Attack, and we are going to full send it. This is so overkill, but even with the 3-stage debuff to their defense, we go for the Blizzard, taking out the Skarmory, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, going to lead with a Hisuian Shiny Arcanine into Trevenant. Now, we are running Snarl, so not bad. Of course, Firefang would be absolutely tearing through this Trevenant. We need to charge our phone, apparently, but luckily for us, we do still get the Snarl through, which is quite fortunate there, because I wouldn't have been surprised if we just didn't get that through there. But going to go for the back-to-back Rock Slides, just making sure we get off both of these moves before the opponent can throw another charge move. And at this point, I think we're probably just going to let the Arcanine go down. Yep, going to let it go through here as the opponent goes for a Seed Bomb, taking us out. We're now going to come in with the Excadrill, and they will just barely outpace us to the next charge move. So at this point, we're not going to overfarm too much here, just because, of course, if we do overfarm too much, we're actually going to get quite low from the Shadow Claw damage. So we take them out there, and the opponent comes in with a Dugong. Not the best timing of that charge move there, I don't think. But going to go for the Rock Slide, dealing huge damage. But because of that slightly poor timing, they do outpace us to the next charge move. They go for an Icy Wind, getting the KO. We're going to come in with the Doug Trio, and we will just barely be able to outpace them to the next charge move, going for the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb, going to get the KO, and they've got a Carbink in the back. And I don't think there are any Pokemon other than maybe this Shadow Alolan Doug Trio that can completely one-shot a Carbink with a 50 energy charge move. That's insane damage, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we're going to see a Poipole into a Dragonite. So we're going to no-shield this. Honestly, Dragonite pretty problematic here, especially if we're just letting that move go through. But we are going to no-shield. Going to go for a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb, obviously going to grab a shield there. We could have possibly baited with a Fell Stinger, ramped up our attack, but that's okay. Going to come in with the Giratina, and hopefully we can Shadow Claw farm them down before they make it to a third Dragon Claw here. It's going to be close, but we do get that farm down. They're now going to come in with a Azumarill, and this is a matchup that I've played a lot in the Fantasy Cup right now, but I'm not running Shadow Force, and Shadow Force hits for huge damage. I mean, actually not that much damage. It's not the best move, to be fair, but they're going to come in with a Bastiodon, and we are once again full sending the nuke here, going for the Seed Flare. Seed Flare does huge damage to the Bastiodon, and the opponent doesn't commit to the farm down. Instead, going to throw their energy, going for a Flamethrower, and at this point, we're going to come back in with the Giratina, and we are going to go for a huge Shadow Claw farm down, and we come out with a load of energy once again, but this time, going for the Ominous Wind. The opponent calls the bait there, but it doesn't really matter, so we can just shield this up now and go for the Shadow Claw farm down. We're going to get there before they make it to another Play Rough, and we're able to take that game. Internet's going to see Bibarel into a Medicham, so we're going to say swap into our Ponyta. Probably the only time that's ever been said, but we are going to possibly no-shield this first move as they go for an Ice Punch bait there. That is resisted damage. We're going for a Flame Charge here. Flame Charge will, of course, ramp up our attack, and the opponent gonna shield their Medicham. Just go for a full counter farm down, and we are presumably going to come in with the Lampent here, and we are going to possibly respect the damage coming from a Psychic. It is the Psychic, so that's fine. Can we go for a full Ember farm down here? We can before they make it to another Psychic. That is huge. They're going to come in with Sableye. Unfortunately, our charge move options aren't great, but going to go for a Flame Burst, dealing some decent damage there, swapping in to our Bibarel, and they've got a Galarian Stunfisk in the back. This actually is not bad whatsoever. Going to no-shield this as they go for a Rock Slide. We can now go for a Surf here. Surf will be doing big damage in this matchup, so the opponent uses their final shield, and at this point they make it to another Rock Slide. We are going to no-shield. We just barely hang on, and we make it to a Surf Bibarel, putting in so much work, making it to the Surf, taking out the Galarian Stunfisk, and at this point I think we can just commit to a full Ember farm down. The opponent probably shouldn't be throwing a charge move here, as they need to commit to a full Shadow Claw farm down, but are able to get the farm down with those Embers, taking out the Sableye, and we're able to take that game. Internet's going to see Frillish into Talonflame, so actually probably not the best matchup, as well you might think it's pretty good here, but we don't have Surf like the Evolution does. We've only got Ominous Wind, which is pretty awful, and Ice Beam. We are eventually going to swap into our Dolliv, and this should be a pretty good matchup. We saw Dolliv in the previous video. Decently bulky here for a grass type, and we are going to overfarm in this matchup. Gonna go for a Trailblaze on the CMP tie. Very nice timing here. Trailblaze is going to grab a shield from the Azumarill. So at this point we're definitely going to shield, and then we can probably just go for a full magically farm down at this point, since we have boosted our attack and we get the perfect farm down there to come back in with the Talonflame. I think we're going to go for one fast move and then go for the Earth Power. Earth Power is also resisted, but it's only single resisted, whereas Grass is double resisted. We grab a shield and we also drop the defense, so very nice there. We can now go for an Ominous Wind, probably going to grab, actually no, never mind, they've got no shields remaining, but they're going to swap into Venusaur, and this is game over. We can just go for an Ice Beam, dealing huge damage, and we can swap into our Litleo. Well, we probably should have just swapped straight away there, to be honest, but the opponent going to go for the Frenzy Plant. We make the catch there, going to go for the Incinerate farm down. They're going to come back in with a Talonflame, and they've got a charge move loaded, but that's fine with us. Fly will be taking us out. We can come back in with the Frillish, make it to another charge move, going for the Ice Beam, taking out the Talonflame, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we're going to see a shiny Surfetched into a Lickitung. The opponent's going to say swap into a Shadow Typhlosion, and we're actually just going to stay in here, going straight for a Leaf Blade, grab the shield, and then swap into our Golurk. And unfortunately, this is pretty much guaranteed to be a Blast Burn, so definitely have to shield that, but we can now go for the Mud Slap farm down. The awkward thing here is this Lickitung is going to be able to go for a huge Lick farm down. We could be running Dynamic Punch though, so going to go for the Earth Power, and the opponent actually no shields that, and they will, oh no, we don't even get off the charge move there. Of course, a Shadow Punch would be double resisted, but honestly from that range it probably would get the KO. But either way, gonna go for a Leaf Blade into the Poliwrath, grab the final shield from the opponent, and you can see we're running Overheat and Hyper Beam on our Galarian Weezing. Gonna no shield this move here as they go for the Scald, and we are going to have to go for the full send here of the Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam coming through, and of course from this range it easily gets the KO. They come back in with the Lickitung. They've got a lot of energy, to be fair, so gonna shield the first move, basically just force them to throw the next move straight away. And let's see, Body Slam is going to get the KO, but Surfetch just barely gets the counter farm down, taking out the Lickitung to take that game. In the next battle, we're going to see a unobtainable Legacy Porygon with Quick Attack, which by the way you just cannot get anymore, even with an Elite TM, as I think it was a mistake. They didn't actually mean to give it access to this move, and maybe it doesn't learn it in the main series games. I think that's how it works with the unobtainable moves. But anyways, we're going to come in with a Galarian Ponyta, and unfortunately this is not a part Fairy type like the Evolution is, so we're taking a lot of damage from these Dragon Tails. Gonna go for a second Swift here. Swift does get them low, but they can get off another charge move. At this point, Aquatail gets the KO. We're going to come in with our Ho-Oh, and let's see, the opponent's going to come in with their Lantern. So we are going to swap here into the Porygon, and the opponent catches the Solar Beam. I didn't see what came in there, but it's a Gligar that still does huge damage, and the opponent will be throwing a Charge Move straight away. So at this point, definitely just no shield this. I think we can go for a full Incinerate farm down with the Ho-Oh, and by the way, this is a non-Shadow Ho-Oh. That means you have to trade from it from research, from the like weekly breakthroughs back in the day, and it was very difficult to obtain this Pokemon, so very cool to see. We land the Earthquake, and now we can just go for a full Incinerate farm down, taking out the Lantern, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, going to see a Shadow Machop into Annihilate, probably the worst thing we could see in the lead there. Going to be say swapping into our Nidorina, and honestly not the greatest matchup either, but they're going to come in with Skarmory, and we've got Thunderbolt for coverage, which is very nice. Thunderbolt does about 50% of their health, which is great for us, and we're actually not quite going to make it to another Thunderbolt here before they make it to a charge move, so instead go for a Poison Fang, and we actually grab a shield there, the opponent committing to the farm down, but we make it to a Thunderbolt once again, and the opponent doesn't want a double shield, so we take out the Skarmory there, flipping switch advantage, and now we can come in with our LGM, which is I think XL here, a very spicy pick. You're going to no shield as this is just an Ice Punch. As we've seen already, they were running Ice Punch, and that probably implies that they're not running Night Slash. Now we can just come in with our Shadow Machop, go for the farm down, never mind, going to go for a Brick Break here. Brick Break will, of course, get the KO, and they're going to come back in with the Annihilate. Doesn't really matter at this point, we still got both our shields. The opponent not going to bother throwing a charge move. We're able to get the Confusion farm down and take that game. Into next game, speaking of Confusion, we're running the Lake Trio here, and by the way, this is a single moved Azelf. I think it is the only one of the trio that is single moved, and I completely understand. The reason I haven't run this trio yet, because I've run a lot of legendary trios, is because I just don't have the candies to double move all of them right now. But anyways, going to come in with Uxie, which is definitely the bulkiest of this trio. Going to go for a Swift here. Swift is going to grab a shield, and we are actually going to shield in return as well. So going to shield up the dig there, gonna go for a slight over farm, going for the Swift, and Swift should be enough to get the KO from this range, and it does exactly that. Now they come in with a Skarmory. This is really not good for us. Gonna go for another Swift, hopefully we can grab a shield, but very unlikely, and no, unfortunately we don't. But does the opponent know about the Fire Blast coverage? They are massively over farming. We are full sending it here. Fire Blast! Oh no, we actually get shielded. But they're going to waste their energy, which is completely unnecessary. I don't know why they did this. But Sky Attack are going to be taking us out there. And we did get all shields down on the opponent's end. So we're going to come in with the Mesprit. And the opponent is going to lag potentially. Actually, I'm not sure. Why are they over farming so much? I swear they're like over 100 energy right now. But anyways, Future Sight gets the KO. And they've got a Feraligatr in the back. And we're going to go for a very unnecessary catch attempt. There was just no reason for that at all. And now, luckily for us, the opponent throws on alignment there, because now we can go for another Future Sight, and once again Mesprit coming in clutch with the Future Sight, getting the KO up against the Feraligatr, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we got a triple eel with like a gaping wide open mouth kind of theme team. I guess Gyarados isn't technically an eel, but it's sort of, it fits the theme fairly well. Anyways, they're going to say swap into a Shadow Quagsire, unfortunately baiting us, but then just making it very obvious that they don't have Stone Edge there. So at this point, we can possibly commit to a full Dragon Ride farm down, or at least over farm a lot more than we did, but never mind. We go for the Crunch. Crunch doesn't quite get the KO, but we get the Dragon Breath farm down. Now, of course, we're not running Aquatail here, which is quite interesting. Unfortunately, Crunch not quite as spammy, but it does have that chance to drop their defense. We've seen it already. Unfortunately, this time we don't get that, but that's fine. Gonna swap back into the Electric here, and we are going to no shield, just a Sky Attack. They're gonna come in with a Gligar, and we're just gonna start spamming these Crunches. Crunch number one, once again, doesn't get the defense drop, but that's okay. This is just an Aerial Ace, so I don't know why they threw that there. We can definitely tank that, although I guess it puts us into range. They give a huge Wing Attack farm down. But anyways, Crunch number two, once again, not getting the debuff there, but that's okay. They do get a huge farm down, so we're just going to bring in the Gyarados. No shield here. Aerial Ace will be taking us out, and now we can come in with the Electros here. And again, I think this is just an Aerial Ace. I'm not really sure what they're doing. I don't know why they're baiting and not even farming up to a potential dig, but now they come back in with the Skarmory, and we can just go for back-to-back liquidations here, or honestly, even the Dragon Claws will probably get a KO from this range. But Dragon Claw, number one, grabs the shield. We go for an extra Volt Switch for no reason whatsoever, and then go for an undercharge on the Liquidation just because we can. And Liquidation, eventually, when it does connect, we'll be taking out the Gligar, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, going to lead with a Ninjask into Dugong, so not a great lead. Going to swap into a Gorbis here, and this would have actually been pretty good for the triple eel team, although doesn't have a huge gaping wide open mouth. But anyways, going to go for 2 Confusions, go for Draining Kiss, and unfortunately Draining Kiss is not a very good charge move whatsoever, but I mean I can say the same for Water Pulse. I guess Water Pulse has been buffed, so it's slightly better these days, but still not amazing, and you definitely don't want to throw it in this matchup anyways. But going to shield here, go for 2 more Confusions, go for another Draining Kiss, but I think at this point, if the opponent commits their shield here, they might be able to go for a fully resisted Ice Shard farm down, and oh, actually, never mind, we make it to the charge move here. Draining Kiss, though, is double debuffed, and it doesn't get the KO. Now we're going to come in with our Frogadier, and we don't even get a fast move through, which is very frustrating. They're going for the Icy Wind, and that's fine. Going to no-shield. Going to no-shield again, and they just go for another Icy Wind, so absolutely fine with us. We're now going to snipe with the Ninjask, and they come in with a Quagsire. Now, of course, Quagsire could be running Stone Edge, so we've got to be careful of that, but we're going to go straight for the Bug Buzz. Bug Buzz deals huge damage. It doesn't quite get the KO there, but we're going to shield this up, and the opponent goes for a Mud Bomb, which would have been triple resisted, so that doesn't make an awful lot of sense. But anyways, I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball here, and Ninjask is actually very attack weighted. Shadow Ball does huge damage, despite being non-stab. The opponent cannot commit to the farm down, but they over-farm perfectly there, literally throwing as we're getting the energy for the charge move, but it doesn't matter, as we're just 1 bubble away from the Surf. Surf gets the KO, and we can just bubble, farm down the Quagsire to take that game. In the next game, we're going to see a level 50 Coughing, and I didn't even realize that Coughing got that close to 1500 CP, so it might be something that I invest in the future. But anyways, I'm going to go for a Sludge Bomb here. Sludge Bomb goes unshielded, does big damage there. And at this point, I think we're just going to no-shield this. Yeah, there's no point in shielding. They go for Scorching Sand, so not running Drill Run, which is quite interesting. But we are going to come in with the Murkrow, assume they're going to blind throw another Scorching Sands, which is exactly what they do, and now we get the Feint Attack farm down. They're going to come in with Frostlass. This isn't ideal for us, but we do stay in and get off a decent amount of Feint Attack damage there, which is super effective. Hits very hard. We're going to shield this up, and they bait with a triple Axle. That is very unfortunate. We're going to go for an Ice Punch here. Ice Punch is going to grab a shield from the opponent. You don't see the animation, but they definitely shielded. And now we're going to shield. They full send the Shadow Ball, and if they commit to another Shadow Ball here, we might get a full resisted farm down with the Ice Fangs, and we get exactly that. Now going to go for an Ice Punch into the Togekiss coming in. We're now going to swap and snipe with the Murkrow, going for a Drill Peck. Drill Peck does huge damage there. 1 Charm takes us out, but we come back in with the Darumaka, get the Ice Fang farm down, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we're going to see a Shadow Alakazam into Vigoroth, so this is a very good lead matchup for us. I think we can just shield once and go for a full counter farm down actually, so going to shield up the Body Slam, but the opponent's going to swap into Mandibuzz, so we are going to bank some energy, swap into Meltan, hoping maybe to catch an Aerial Ace, but the opponent full sends a Dark Pulse. That does do quite a lot of damage there, but we are going to go for the Thunderbolt, throwing on the CMP tie. Meltan doesn't reach a very high CP, but Thunderbolt still does some decent damage there, so we are just going to no-shield this, as the opponent goes for another Dark Pulse, and at this point we can come in with our Eevee, and you can see we're running Swift, which means unfortunately we're not running the Legacy Body Slam, which is less energy and deals more damage than Swift, and I would have got the KO there because Swift just barely doesn't knock out the Mandibuzz, meaning we have to no-shield a Dark Pulse once again. They're going to come back in with the Vigoroth. We're going for the Swift here. Swift might grab a shield from the opponent, and Swift does grab the shield. We swap into our Alakazam to snipe with a Fire Punch or grab the final shield from the opponent, and we get that final shield. At this point, didn't want to throw on CMP. I think it is probably better just to commit to a full counter farm down, and actually they've got a Trevenant in the back, so it was very good that we didn't throw there because Shadow Ball gets the one shot, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we got a Galarian Slowpoke in the lead, which is very spicy, but look at that backline, a Grubbin and a Froakie. What on earth is this team? Insane level 50 Pokemon. Gonna go for a Surf there, or at least I assume they're level 50. They're gonna swap into Ferrothorn, and we're gonna come in with a Grubbin, and we're running Bug Bite, which is a lot better for us actually, because of course Spark would be resisted in this matchup. I mean, I'm just assuming that it has Spark. I literally have no clue. I've never used a Grubbin in the Go Battle League before. But anyways, we are going to to no shield this next charge move here, and the opponent goes for a power whip, which is resisted damage. Can we make it to the X Scissor in time? And yes, we are able to do so, and that's great. X Scissor should be grabbing the shield from the opponent, and they're going to throw straight away. So this one, yeah, I probably agree with this. Just let it go through. We can come in with the Slowpoke, go for the Confusion Farm down, and the opponent is going to come in with a Rock Smash Poliwrath, and we went for the Surf there for some reason. I don't really know why, but now we're going to go for the Side Shock, and maybe because we went for Surf, they might just no shield, and they do no shield. That does big damage. We swap into Froakie, we get the Bubble Farm down. I've got literally no clue what moves that Poliwrath was running. Maybe they just brought the wrong Poliwrath, I don't know. But either way, going to shield up the Moonblast there, and we're able to get the Bubble Farm down up against Clefable and take that game. Anyways, going into the final battle, going to lead Smoochum into Mantine. Once again, another very spicy XL pick. And the opponent's going to fire off a charge move, just going to be an Aerial Ace. You can see Aerial Ace does so much damage there. We're going to go for an Ice Punch. Ice Punch, not going to do as much damage, but it grabs a shield. We're now going to swap into our Oricorio. I don't know what the exact name of this form is. It's like Pom-Pom or something, which would make sense because it looks like it's got pom-poms for wings. But anyways, unfortunately, I think all of the Oricorio forms don't have anything other than flying type moves, and not particularly good moves either. You can see we've got Air Slash, Aerial Ace, and Air Cutter, which is just an awful moveset to be fair. But we're going to overfarm here, going for the Aerial Ace, and Aerial Ace from this range. Does this get the KO? It actually doesn't get the KO, but we get the farm down, which is fine. They're going to come back in with Mantine, and we could have committed to an Air Cutter there, but I mean, it's still a pretty rubbish move. Doesn't really matter. Aerial Ace does some okay damage, but I guess we could have just put them into farm down range if that was the case. But anyways, going to go for an Ice Punch here. Ice Punch is going to grab a shield, and we are going to see the opponent's going to go for a full wing attack farm down. We're going to come in with the upper lever here, and we are going to shield this up as the opponent goes for an Aerial Ace. I think they're at back-to-back moves, and they are, so we basically need something incredibly weak to grass in the back, or maybe weak to ground as well. And it's a Quagsire, so that's perfect for us. We can go straight for the Seed Bomb, and Quagsire going to be straight in and straight out. We get the KO there with the ER Believer, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.